Hey everybody, Steven here playing Subnautica Below Zero, and today we're going to look at a bunch of the smaller things that the dev team has added. And actually some of them aren't small at all, but one of them I covered in a separate video that I posted earlier today with the shield base being converted over, and I've been informed that it's actually called the Warp Gate base now. So we'll take a look at that, and I'll talk a little bit more about things that people have informed me of with some comments that I've been reading with the last video, which help a ton, by the way, if I miss anything. And actually, with that, the reason I did the video was based off of a comment, because somebody let me know that, hey, this has been changed. Because I didn't see this in the Subnautica Changes Twitter account feed, and they just happened to come upon it. So, really, really cool. So thank you guys for doing the comments. I appreciate it. So the first big thing with this is the cold meter. They've changed it. It's not red anymore. So now it's like a, I don't know, like a light blue going into turquoise, or like a turquoise going into like a more of a green. So they've changed the color, but they still have the snowflakes in the background, which become more pronounced as you get colder and colder. So you can start to see it kind of pop up there. Maybe we can see a little bit better against this backdrop. Hopefully that translates to the video when I export it, but they've tweaked that, and I'm wondering if that's because of feedback from everybody. There, now you should be able to see that, because I have heard a couple people like, hey, I don't like the red. I personally like the red, but this one looks cool too. So we have that. Let's take the weather off. Alright, so we have Research Base 0. This is where you used to wake up with the old intro to the game. And then we had our pathway up here to the shield base. But like I said, now it is called apparently the Warp Gate base. We'll go inside. You need the white tablet. And we'll just kind of float in. This is it. And everybody's like, man, that looks like a piston. Looks like it maybe detaches and goes to that other point here. Which I can see that, but based off the name, I'm curious to see what it does. Let's ghost in here. So this is the terminal that I was like, I'm wondering what you do, right? But everybody was saying that, hey, from the first game you had the orbital cannon base, and with that you actually have a terminal that looks just like this, that actually checks you to make sure that you're not infected. And that's towards the beginning of the game, and it looks just like that terminal. So, and that may be the case. I could see it being that, just because we have the frozen Leviathan. Obviously we're most likely going to get infected. We don't know 100% for sure. Just because of the new story and the changes that Jill Murray's making, but I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. But this also kind of looks like, especially with these on the side here, it looks like, and this is most likely going to be towards the end of the game, that Alan is going to be doing something here. So I'm wondering if we're infected or not, and maybe this has to do with that, or this has to do with Alan actually utilizing this to turn this thing on, and then that becomes kind of that warp gate. And I don't know if that means warping to other places or off this planet. That's the other thing. And then we have this big room right here. Nothing's in it right now, but it's another thing. I mean, we could see a gate right here. We don't know. So we have that. Next, we are going over to the Arctic Spires, because they have finally added in something. They've actually tweaked it as well, so we'll cover that. You used to have like kind of two pathways in the back. They've eliminated that. We just have this area here that I'm assuming something's going to happen right there. And right here. So they've closed it off. There's no back end to this now. It's just this front part. But let's ghost in right here. Let's get ourselves a scanner. Unidentified bones. And well, couldn't find it. But it essentially just says that this is the skeletal structure of an ice worm. So this is like an ice worm boneyard, which is why these things are so big compared to the other ones that you see in the glacial basin. So hopefully we get more. This looks pretty cool, because we got the 3 right here. But I thought that looked pretty awesome. See if the weather makes it look better. And about the same. Alright, so we have that. They've done some tweaks where the hover bike, or the snow fox, isn't supposed to trigger the ice worm quite as much. But I'm still noticing issues with the ice worm popping up, either floating through walls or just getting triggered a ton with eating snow stalkers. So seems like there's still a little bit of work to do with that. We have that over there. I'll find it again. So you can scan this now, apparently. We have the ice bubbles. I've pointed this out before, but just provides oxygen for you. There it is. But it has a little bit of info on it. So we have that. A couple of things I haven't been able to find that they've listed. And another one that somebody was telling me about, which was some flowers that are supposed to be down in the deep lily pad biome, but I'm not seeing them just yet. So hopefully we see those pretty soon. Last little bit here on this video, though, is looking at tweaks to the terrain here. They usually don't announce stuff like that. I just happen to come upon it. And some of this I've looked at, but it just seems like they've done a little bit more tweaking, minor detail stuff. Here you can usually see the line where they're starting to push this stuff back. Still don't know what they're going to do over here, because they have to figure out a way to kind of end this, right? Because right now there's nothing. So I'll be curious to see what they actually do with that. And then come back over here. Same thing, we have this line where you can tell they're going to push it and then it'll drop off. Just more detail work with how this kind of finishes out. It seems like they're going to do a little bit more work here, or there needs to be a little bit more work here. And you usually can tell just if it's going straight down, because they usually do more than just have it go straight down. There's usually some type of curve to it, or little nooks, little crannies in it. And I'm curious to see what they do here too, because we got a chunk. But it kind of seems like we have like these multiple tiers to this plateau here. Hopefully we get with that too maybe some plants or something like that, and it's just not nothing like it is right now. Outside of that, this is all kind of the same. And I do want to look at the outside of the kind of research base Omega area here, because they've actually tweaked this. I just haven't, I mean, I've looked at smaller parts, like, hey, they have more roots and things like that, but the outside of this, they've done a ton of work on, like I said, all small detail work that's just making this look a lot better, especially compared to what it used to look like even just a couple months ago. So just around the edge here, the work that they've done, and it's one of those things where it's not just flat anymore, it's got all these little areas to explore. Like here you can see all the just the little areas that they've kind of carved out to make it look more natural. We got a big root across this now. And we've had roots inside of here, so that isn't different. But now we have the pathways are still the same, but just how they've shaped and molded them gives it more character. Like I said, makes it look more natural. And this root right here, I really like how it splits the ground. Let's bring the water volume back on here. So it looks more Subnautica to me, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is looking way, way better. And even as you go down, there's little areas, and I'm hoping they put little cool things in there to find. Right, just little tunnels on the side. Layer here. So yeah, they've done a lot to this. And I think it looks really, really good. Even the top. Used to just go straight up, just kind of curved in, that was it. Now it looks way better. It'll be fun to build a base in there too. And I believe they've been working still on the draw distance. I mean, we're still having issues with it, but draw distance and load in. Now it's going to be affected by me being in free cam because I get to zoom forward really, really quick, so that doesn't help. And then the last part I want to look at minor tweak, but just the landscape here. It seems like they've kind of smoothed this out, so it's not just a sharp drop off anymore. Kind of gets pulled back. And I've said this in another video, I really hope they expand the purple vent biome so that it actually kind of morphs more over here too. Just a little bit more. I think that would be a nice touch. Whoa. Shot me ahead there. But that is going to be it. Still no word on EA9, unfortunately. I know it's supposed to be April, but that may get pushed. We may be looking at sometime in May. And then I've heard a lot of other people saying that release 1.0 is just around the corner and that this next one is supposed to be that. And I'm not 100% sure on that, just because EA9 is on the Favreau site. And then after that is the 1.0 release, and we haven't had the EA9. And also, just let me know, Braxis said this on one of my videos, that they're having trouble with recording because of the lockdown. So I don't think they would try and rush to get 1.0 out, and they don't have the proper recordings for all the voice work and all of that either. So hopefully, fingers crossed though, we do see next week or the week after that EA9 release, because I know a lot of people aren't in the experimental build and they're really wanting to play all this new stuff and the new story. So, but that is going to be it for this video. If you liked the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to continue to follow along with all of my content, hit the subscribe button for me. Thanks so much for watching.